Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I would like to share with you 12 films that I would recommend checking out this Halloween season. Hey guys, welcome back. Like I said, I just want to share with you 12 films that I would recommend checking out this Halloween season. My one criteria with this list, I really wanted to focus in on movies that are not sequels or prequels or remakes or anything that would have had a like a remake. Like, so for instance, like Evil Dead has, there's sequels to the film and there's also a remake. So I didn't want to include anything like that in this list. So you won't see any Friday the 13th or Halloween's or Nightmare on Elm Streets or anything like that within this list. But these are films that I feel like in some ways are kind of like overlooked. Some of them more than others, but a lot of you probably have heard of a lot of these films before. But if you have one of these sitting on your shelf at home and you've never watched it, maybe this is a sign for you to go check it out this Halloween season. So I'm just going to jump into this list. I have 12 films here that I have in no really particular order besides alphabetical, but I'm just going to dive right in. So the first film here, this is a film that I feel like I've talked about a little bit on this channel before, and it's really just a, I might even recommended it before, but I honestly think that it's kind of an underrated film. It's not necessarily scary, it's more of just a fun concept and a fun movie just to watch with friends, and that is the film Black Sheep. Now this is a movie that is exactly what you think it is. It is killer sheep, and yeah, it's so much fun, and I would highly recommend checking it out if you have not watched it yet. I don't know what else to say about it besides it's killer sheep, and I feel like that's all you really need to know about it, because yeah, when you think of creature feature, you don't usually think of sheep as being the creature, but Black Sheep. The next movie I want to recommend is technically a film from Vinegar Syndrome, although I feel like you can probably find copies that are not the Vinegar Syndrome 4K, because I do think the Vinegar Syndrome 4K is actually out of print now, but that is the film A Blade in the Dark. This is technically an Italian film. This is the Italian title there. And yeah, this is just a fun slasher film. I mean, the packaging on this edition is also just fantastic. But yeah, I remember it just being like a fun film that is pretty like straightforward plot, and I feel like there's just some really fun effects and just some fun situations throughout this film. So if you've not seen it, I would highly recommend checking out A Blade in the Dark. This next movie, I feel like it's kind of maybe starting to get a little bit more attention. I believe Umbrella Entertainment actually just announced releasing a 4K of this film, and I only have the DVD here, but that is the film Creep from 2005. Yeah, this is a fun one. There's another movie called Creep, and I think there's also a Creep 2, but those are separate films from this one. This is a movie set in a subway station, and just kind of like the underground tunnels and everything, and about there's like a creature, and it's just a lot of fun. It feels very claustrophobic at times, and some great practical effects, and I would highly recommend checking this out. Yeah, I really had a fun time with this one, but that is the film Creep. This next movie is one that Synapse Films actually puts out, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought that it was a lot of fun, and that is the film Curtains. This is a film that is a slasher, which I like. That's my favorite genre or subgenre within the horror genre, is slasher films, and so I'm a big sucker just for slasher films in general. But this is really a fun one. I feel like it is it feels very isolated, which is always fun for me. I always like isolated horror films, but yeah, it's essentially just about a group of women kind of auditioning for a part, and then there is a killer. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I would highly recommend checking it out. But that is the film Curtains. This next film is one that actually I really do enjoy, and that is the film The Editor. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this movie that much. I'm sure it still has its fans, but I personally really enjoy this movie. I thought it was very interesting. There's some sequences in it that are almost like avant-garde or more of like a surreal type of filmmaking, which I really like within horror. But yeah, it's a fantastic, fun film about an editor, and just kind of, you kind of explore his mind in a lot of things. But yeah, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Go watch the trailer. It's an interesting film. But that is The Editor. This next movie, for sure, people have heard about, but is one that I really like. I know Vinegar Syndrome put out a 4K of this, but I unfortunately just have the Blu-ray. But that is the film From Beyond. This is an H.P. Lovecraft story, and it is just fantastic. The lighting alone in this movie has some really great like just effects throughout the entire film, and it looks very like, I mean, there's a lot of like purples and blues and pinks and colors like that within the some of the sequences that I really just enjoy. I mean, I'm a big fan for that type of lighting within a movie, and so I feel like this is just like right up my alley. It's also just a fun movie where it kind of, I mean, it definitely has that H.P. Lovecraft type of edge to it, which is obvious because it's an H.P. Lovecraft story, but yeah, I really enjoy this one. I wish I had the 4K, but for now I have the Scream Factory Blu-ray. But yeah, if you have not seen this movie, I would highly recommend checking it out this Halloween season, because it's honestly just like a fun film. But that is From Beyond. This next movie, actually I just watched it for the first time the other night, and I decided to throw it into this video because I feel like it's a fun one that I feel like it is perfect for watching around this time of year, and that is the film Hellfest. This is one that I remember it coming out, and I just never saw it in theaters. I remember, kind of passing up on the 4K, and I kind of wish I grabbed the 4K now, but maybe someday I'll grab it. This is just a fun, basically a haunted house, or it's more of a haunted carnival situation, and there's just a killer, and yeah, it's a fun premise, and I feel like some of the choices of the characters are a little questionable, but I just feel like it is just overall like a fun idea and a fun movie. It's also very short. I feel like the runtime was less than an hour and a half, if I'm not mistaken, 89 minutes, so right under an hour and a half, but yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think, like I said, this was like my first time watching it this Halloween season, and yeah, I can't recommend it enough to the people who have not seen this. But yeah, give it a try this Halloween season, because it's just a fun movie. But that is Hellfest. This next film is one that I hear people talk about from time to time, but overall, I just feel like nobody really talks about it that much, and that is the film Horns with Daniel Radcliffe. This is a movie that I watched for the first time this year, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very unique film. And some people might say that this is not horror. It definitely has horror elements. There's definitely some sequences that are pretty gory, but I mean, in a way, it's more of like like kind of like a murder mystery type of movie, but it's very unique in that way. And so I consider it to be a horror movie simply because of the horror elements. But if you've not seen it, I would highly recommend giving it a try because it really is just an interesting idea. I also love that Daniel Radcliffe is just kind of doing all these like weird, fun projects because he can now. But yeah, that is the film Horns. This next movie is one that actually I watched like this year as well for the first time, and I didn't really know what to expect from it. I just knew the very, very basic premise of the movie, and that is the film Lifeforce. Maybe if the camera will focus on me. Maybe. There we go. Lifeforce. But this is a film by Tobe Hooper, and I really just knew that it was space vampires. That is pretty much all I knew about it going into it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting idea, and it had some really interesting practical effects and kind of an interesting twist on the vampire like genre in a way. I'm not a huge vampire fan. I tend to, lean not really towards vampires all that much. It's just not really my type of movie. But this one had a fun like premise to it that I would recommend checking out. This is one that I've actually owned for years that I just never got around to watching. But yeah, if you're like me and you have the DVD sitting around, pop it in. Recommend checking out Lifeforce. This next movie is, again, just a fun slasher film that I believe was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. 81. Yes, 1981. And it's just a fun slasher film that I feel like it kind of has that, almost Friday the 13th feeling to it. But that is the film The Prowler. Again, just a fun slasher film. And if you're looking just for like, almost just like a film just to kind of, kind of turn your brain off. You don't have to think about too much. I would highly recommend checking out The Prowler. Yeah, it's fun. Some of the effects are really cool, and overall, just a fun slasher. But The Prowler. This next movie, I feel like a lot of people probably have heard about this at least, or have seen it, but this is a personal, kind of a favorite of mine, and I've seen it a couple times now, and that is the movie The Stuff. This movie is so fun. It is such a fun idea, just to basically about, this stuff that they start selling to consumers, and eventually bad things happen. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin anything with the movie. But yeah, it's a fun film. It's kind of cheesy at times, but if you kind of just roll with it, I feel like you'll have a good time. And it's just some really interesting practical effects, especially if you watch the behind the scenes on like how they actually did some of this stuff. Was very, very fascinating. But yeah, that's again the film, The Stuff. And the last film I want to recommend to people, this movie has gained a cult following over the years, no pun intended, but I really, really like this film. I think that it's a very unique film, and it has some very unique elements to it. But that is the movie The Void. This is a lot. It is it reminds me a lot of H.P. Lovecraft's work. It might be inspired by his work or written by it, I'm not sure. But it has a lot of that H.P. Lovecraft, similar to like the Beyond or From Beyond. It has a lot of that like weird stuff involved, and I love it. I think it is so fascinating. It's a terrifying movie, and if I was the characters within the film, I would also, not know what to do, because it is, it's very fascinating, and it has some very, very great practical effects, and I really can't recommend it enough. It's so fun. I don't want to really say anything because I don't want to ruin anything from this film, because I feel like when you go into it not knowing anything, it's truly a better experience. But yeah, that is the movie The Void. So those are 12 films that I would recommend checking out this Halloween season. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on those 12. it was kind of hard, honestly, to pick out films that do not have sequels, remakes, prequels, or anything like that, or not part of a series. And so I'm sure I left out a few. I sat there, in my movie room for a good 20 minutes trying to decide which movies to talk about. But let me know if I left out any of your favorites, or what are your thoughts on the ones that I picked. I am very curious, but I hope everybody out there is having a great Halloween season so far, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.